Welcome to Her Lights, your home for women's sports coverage. I'm your host, Erin Foley, a stand-up comic, TV writer, and most important, an obsessed sports fan. I break down the best games, highlight the best stories, and interview the best from the world of women's sports. So put on your jerseys, stretch out your hammies, and let's do this. Hello, Her Lighters. It's Erin Foley. I usually say back in the booth talking women's sports, but I'm not in the booth. I'm in the Ice House Comedy Club in Pasadena, and I'm so excited for this episode. I'm about to walk in and interview Penny Toler. She is the GM of the Ice House Comedy Club, but more importantly, she is a WNBA legend. 1997, LA Sparks. They built the team around her and Lisa Leslie. She is the first person to score a bucket in the WNBA, the first person to score a free throw in the history of the WNBA. Can you stand it? I can't. I'm so thrilled. I mean, Kodak All-American in college, played overseas. This woman has done it all, and then was the GM for 20 years. I mean, she's just absolutely amazing, and I couldn't be more excited. Let's do this.
Live from the, no, kidding. Can you imagine? I just turn into a different person when I start podcasting. All right, so grew up in DC, pride of the DMV, and then you went to college in California, San Diego State, then Long Beach State. What got you to California? Now you've been here the whole time.
Hot weather. I always knew I was going to come west. I think watching television, I hate cold weather. And as a matter of fact, my family always, they know when it's cold, I never come home. And so I already knew at the age of 14, where now being older, I see the power of words. When I saw California on television, I go, I'm going to live in California. And years later, that's what made me come to California. I was recruited by everybody, and I told all the East Coast teams, and I should have probably been a little more careful with that because the coaches were voting on the All-American. So I told all the East Coast teams, don't even recruit me. I'm not staying home. I'm going west. Michelle Edwards, matter of fact, who played for the Cleveland Rocker, and I were best friends. And we had met each other at camp when we were younger, and we had agreed to, hey, let's go to the same school. Until she picked Iowa. Vivian Stringer had just landed at Iowa, and she picked Iowa. I'm like, Michelle, you pick Iowa? You know how cold it gets in Iowa? And then that's when I decided to go to San Diego State.
I love it. That's just purely based on, I just was thinking, you were so heavily, you could have played anywhere. That's why I was curious. I was like, why? Oh my God, I love California.
And that was the weather. And just like now, my sister and brothers always go, do you ever think you'd move back home? And I go, when I die. Yeah. So you guys can visit my grave. I mean, even today it's raining, but look how nice it is.
And then it rains for 35 minutes, and everyone
goes, and then the sun comes out.
Oh, thank God it's over. And then we have beautiful. Yeah, I was living in New York City, and I thought, I'll go to LA for a year, do some comedy. I don't know. I was just trying to figure it out. And I've been here 18 years. And I'm like, I cannot imagine. I mean, I know everyone's just this and the price of whatever. And I go, it's the weather. I can't go where are we going?
The only place I could ever go to experience this type of weather, and this is why it's my favorite place out the country, and that's Greece. Greece is a lot like LA, far as the beautiful weather. I mean, it stays sunny all day, the beautiful beaches. But when people ask me sometime, now, I have, since I done traveled the world, people always go, you want to go here, go there. I'm fine with staying home because LA to me is the best place ever.
Yeah.
I love LA.
And I think it's probably just a cruel joke. Not a cruel joke, just a joke, because I used to crap, as a New Yorker, I used to crap on LA because I hated the sports teams.
Yeah.
I grew up Knicks, and then we moved to Rhode Island, crazy Boston Celtics. So I hated the Lakers, and now I've adopted the Sparks, now 18, and now I'm just I'm constantly being no, I actually really like Los Angeles after all these years later. Okay, wait, so you mentioned Greece, so this just beautifully goes into the second question. You graduate college, you win every award possible, and yet there's this amazing crop of talent and no place to play in the U.S. And I think I basically will scream from the hilltops. Like I'm so excited that this younger crop of like present day players like have options, but your class of players had one option, and that was playing overseas.
Playing overseas, and it was crazy too, because those teams overseas were already established. You could make a lot of money, and here we are in the best country in the world, and you mean to tell me there's no place for women's sports? You know, maybe it should have took another Title IX, put it at the pro level to get us here. But yeah, it was interesting, because you would practice to be the best, and then it's like you fell off the face of the earth. And that's why when the W started, a lot of players didn't know players. Matter of fact, that's a funny story too, when I first came to go join the Sparks. But
we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll
you fell off the face of the earth, but over there you went there, and they knew that the Americans were the best players, because you can only have like 2 Americans on a team. You can have as many foreigners, but you can only have 2 Americans on a team. And I went overseas my first year, and yeah, because it was almost like you gave up your home country, you were gone for 8 months, nobody saw you, your career, you could be all world, all universe, and it stopped right there. And the best thing that happened to me when I went overseas, my very first player that was on my team that a lot of people don't know is Dennis Rodman had a sister named Deborah Rodman that I played with. And she was the first American I played with overseas, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was better than Dennis too, believe me, in the offensive end, because he didn't have any.
No, he didn't
and
have
she had
any.
a lot of offense.
Yeah, he had to make it work as the best defensive player to hide the fact that he couldn't shoot.
No, Deborah Rodman.
Oh my God, that's wild. Of course, I'm not even remotely surprised, because it's always like the men are the shiny objects. But when you went over there, so where did you start? You started in Italy,
I started
right?
in Italy, yes.
And it was a level of competition, like you coming off like how good it was in college, like how did it compare?
Oh, a lot of people don't know. College was great, and obviously because you were at home, and then at that time when I went overseas, that's when television was just getting on television, because I think we had a contract with Prime Ticket, it was called back in the day. Matter of fact, Ann Myers was the announcer who would announce the games, and the only thing they showed in America was the Final 8, the Final 4, and that was it, where now you see everything. But going overseas, the difference was there were a lot of players there, but there were a lot of pro players. Just like now, America's getting a chance to see some of the foreigners that come over here and play. And it was great. It was fun. I mean, your offense got better. Everybody know your offense is going to get better. But what it was for us back in the day, and a lot of these players won't experience that, for me, it was like walking through history, because the best player in Long Beach State that ever won the wave was LaTanya Pollard. So I got to see LaTanya play and play against LaTanya Pollard now, because the age, it didn't matter your age over there, just like the WNBA. So I got a chance to see LaTanya Pollard. I got a chance to see Lynette Woodard, Janice Lawrence, like the history of basketball players were over there. It was like walking through the history of the best players to ever play basketball. So the competition level was high.
Yeah.
And there would be some battles, it would be some serious battles over there.
So basically you, like year after year, that was your, like,
reality.
You spent 8-9 months a year getting, hitting all these next levels. Did you ever think, there would be, like, it's hard to get my head around the fact that you can still to this day have all these international leagues, but at that time there was no U.S. league. It's mind-blowing to think about.
It's really mind-blowing. Think about it. You would have cricket on TV, and nobody wanted to show a women's basketball game, or nobody wanted to invest in a women's basketball league. Believe, even myself, I didn't go right overseas. I even had to wait for a job to get overseas, it was quickly, because I was an All-American, but I still waited like a month, because, they had, like I'm telling you, a lot of vets and stuff. And this is why when Cynthia came, people were shocked at how good Cynthia was. Cynthia already been great. I'm talking about Cynthia Cooper now.
Oh, Cynthia. I was
yeah,
like,
where a lot of players here, because she wasn't on television. The television wasn't shown that in our era like it is now. people were shocked, or where did she come from? Oh no, she always been as bad as she is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And over there, your offense get better. So we over there averaging like 40, you know? The Americans were there to make their team better and for their players to implement how we play to get better. But you always dream, of course. I mean, oh my God, I don't know how many nights I'd be like, oh my God, I wish America had a league, because you were gone 8-10 months out of the year, and especially if you played on a team of the Cup of Mankaty that went a little longer. So I think one year I might have been in America for 25 days max, and that's because I fell in love with Greece. So I just stayed over there a lot. But you always hope there would be a WNBA team. Well, I didn't call it WNBA, but NBA.
Yeah.
And the fortunate thing was, not only did the WNBA come, but the ABL came first.
Yeah.
You know, and the ABL came first, and I know a lot of players went into that league. And I remember I was in Israel, playing in Israel at the time on the #1 team, Ramat Sharon, when the Basketball Federation president called me and said, hey, it's this lady looking for you named Renee Brown. Renee Brown was president of the players personnel at the WNBA level. And I had met Renee when Renee used to coach at Santa Barbara when I went to Long Beach State, and we played against them. And she said, when she became player personnel, she said, Penny, you were the first person I was going to go look for, because, you know, she obviously she was familiar with me from Long Beach State. And when she told me, she said, yeah, we're going to make you a marquee player in the new WNBA. I go, like the WNBA, like them? She said, yeah, like the NBA. Because people don't know the first 8 teams, in order to be in the WNBA, you had to have an NBA team. And the LA team was backed by the greatest owner ever, Jerry Buss, you know, with his son Johnny Buss being president of the team. So when the league was coming along, you know how happy I was? Oh my God, I probably could have ran back there to America. You know, I'm like, hey, wear the jersey on, you know, barefooted too, probably, you know. But so it was like a dream come true. And then it was just like a dream come true. And I look back on it, and I'm glad I had an opportunity to catch it like in my prime, because, you know, even though Lynette Woodard and those players came back that were incredible, but still, because the people here in America never seen them play, they looked to the Cheryl Suits, who was just coming out of Texas Tech, who was great, the Lisa Leslie's,
Lobo,
you know, and Lobo. When a lot of these people emulated their game after Janice Lawrence, one of the best big girls ever, Katrina McClain, who never played in the WNBA though. I remember it also caught Teresa Edwards at the end of her career, who still was great. And Teresa Edwards, before Taurasi, I think just passed her with the most Olympic times in the Olympics.
Yeah,
Teresa
they won.
Edwards,
She was like one of the huge players in '96 golds, right?
Yeah.
Teresa, she was.
and a 4-time Olympian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Taurasi just eclipsed her with number
6
5
or
6.
Yeah.
They're only one apart. And Teresa Edwards is like, I mean, one of the best players to ever lace up a pair of tennis shoes. And a lot of this generation won't even know who she is, you know, who she is, and how great she was.
Well, so I just want to talk about that. Like in '97, you're playing overseas, and then you get wind of like the WNBA. Obviously, the Sparks allocate you and Lisa Leslie, which was a huge deal. Essentially, they're saying, I'm gonna create this team around you and Lisa Leslie, which is huge. I remember I was talking to Sue Wicks, and she was like, I was playing Turkey, I got a FedEx. I was like, what is the WNBA, you know? And these stories of just like, you know, like
one of my favorite people, like I may add, Sue Wicks. I was her teammate, and
she's the best.
She was one of the best teammates you could ever have.
Yeah.
I love Sue.
Yeah, she's the best.
Sue.
But where were you, and where were you like in your basketball? You know, you were in Israel when?
I was in Israel playing on the #1 team. I think that was year 8, playing overseas, and they took all the best players because they didn't want all of us to wind up on the same team. So they allocated us 2 to a team. And so a lot of people don't even know, Lisa Leslie and I were on the team before they ever even had a coach. And you know, the funny thing about that is, I remember now, Lisa was on television and she was here. So when they allocated me to the Sparks, you know, I was out the country. So right when our season was ending, the Sparks was holding the open trial, right? And what's his name? Dion. Matter of fact, he's a security guard now for the Sparks. God, he'll kill me if I couldn't remember his name right now. But he was Derek Fisher's bodyguard later. But he used to work in the Sparks organization, and they were having open trials, and this is a true story. They were having the open trials right when I got back. And Johnny was like, Penny, come up here, you can meet everybody, including meeting him. I had never met Johnny. I knew Lisa, I knew the OGM, Rhonda, I knew all those guys. So when I got to the door and they were having open practice, the guard, he told me, only basketball players beyond this point.
You're like, I'm the face of the team.
I went, they were running over to tell him that I was Penny Toler, but because, we weren't on TV during that time, and Lisa was.
Yeah.
And he was stopping me from going in the gym. Yeah. And then I go, I'm Penny, and they ran over and they said, no, that's Penny Toler, let her in the gym. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was
classic.
my introduction to the Sparks. Man told I couldn't come in the gym. Yeah.
Did you know Lisa before you guys played together?
Oh yeah, I knew Lisa.
Yeah.
Lisa, we recruited at Long Beach.
Oh, okay.
And I think we were right there, and she chose to go to SC, but we were leaving that year.
Yeah.
I knew Lisa. I think I've known Lisa since she was maybe 14, maybe 15, something like that. I've known Lisa forever. Yeah, forever.
I just thought that was like such an incredible pairing. And did you just get a call like out of the blue? Like, could you have said like, no, I don't want to go to LA? Like, let's say like another team, or was it just sort of like you went wherever you were
You went
chosen?
wherever you were allocated, but
Yeah.
to be honest with you, with there never been a league here, do you really care where you go?
Yeah.
I could have
just
went
thought
to
it was like-
Universe. I
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
went to the dirt bags.
Yeah.
If it was
No, I just thought it was
license-
California. So I was like,
couldn't-
did you just
Well,
get?
I think that was the
Yeah.
league being strategic.
Yeah, okay.
And what they were being strategic with, players that had played in the region.
Okay.
Because they knew if you played in that region and people had saw you play, it would be easier to sell tickets.
Yeah, okay.
Than bringing someone maybe, but don't get me wrong, thank God it was me instead of Cynthia Cooper, even though she got 4 titles and I only got 3 as GM, but but I was happy as, and then, and the funny side of that was LA had the #1 pick that year too.
Yeah.
And to show you how funny life is, but Swoops was pregnant that year, so they let Swoops pick, and they picked Tina Thompson, where the Sparks party would have picked Tina Thompson. And we would have won those first 4 championships.
Oh
now you
my
see how
God.
close. You see all the great stories in the history.
Yeah.
All these young kids need to go and learn.
That's what
It wasn't all about TikTok and Instagram.
I know.
and
It's
let me get my likes and I can't play type
Yeah.
era. It was like we were legit ballers,
Well, I mean, you're incredible basketball players, but also not only were you the best of the best basketball players, you also started the entire league.
Yeah.
And I think absolutely people need to know all of this history. I'm fascinated by just the story, these origin stories where there was no path. You had to literally create your entire the professional landscape. So you land in LA, you get the draft. I want to, obviously you're, an incredible player, but you're, the name pops up of getting the first, bucket and the first free throw. What was it like to play, like the energy of that day at the Forum in LA? Like, how did you guys maintain, like, oh my God, we have a game to play after all of this?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And it started before we ever got here because I remember overseas, we would buy Nikes and wear Nikes, and Nike were choosing the athletes, and I was one chosen by Nike. It was myself, from the Sparks, it was myself, Jamila Wideman, Lisa Leslie, and Haisha Zhang, the first Chinese to play in the WNBA, was Haisha Zhang. And you get in this box overseas, now you're a Nike athlete, and they just sending you clothes overseas. I had to tell the Israelis, look, I'm not paying taxes on this, because if I was home, I would get this for free. They literally hold all the stuff there. This is when it started, literally, in Israel, because they was like, oh no, all this stuff is new, you gotta pay taxes on it. No, I don't, I'm an American.
Yeah.
And they wanna give me the stuff. But it started before you ever got there. And then when we came to America, just like I told you, the open practice that I was about to be held out of, it was so many players there trying to just get a spot. And it was nice to already have a spot and see it develop. And to play at the Forum, I wasn't a Laker fan. I was a Detroit Pistons fan because I loved Isaiah Thomas, and I was a Boston Celtics fan. You know, I still say to this day, if Len Bias had died, who knows?
My God.
I remember it was so much hype around it. They had this poster, and just to get off a little bit, but this will be in my memoirs, this story. They had this poster that Nike had created for every team, whichever players they had, and it's the original poster. And I remember it was so much hype around it that my brother called me from DC, hey, can you get me one of those posters? And it was with Jamila, myself, Lisa, and Highshot, because Nike, I think, they were all sold out.
No way.
They were all sold out. Years later, we had a fan that used to be a Sparks fan. Her name was Lovedee. One of the very first Sparks fans. She was like, Sparks fan, loved me when I was a player, loved me some years as GM, hate me some years when I was GM. And on, unfortunately on her deathbed, she had a wish that she wanted to see me and Michael Cooper. And we went over to her house. She was dying. I don't recall what she was dying from, but I went in her house because she said, Penny, come on, tell me. I don't think I'm gonna be around. Can you tell me who you guys are gonna draft? And I said, if I tell you, you probably. She said, I may not even be around to tell anybody. So we all laughed. And I go, oh my God, you got this poster right here. I say, and she was a Sparks fan. She collected lots of. I said, this poster is. I said, you know, not too many people got that poster. We didn't even have it, right? But she had it. And the story of that poster, the reason I say about that poster, so when she passed away, she told her caregiver to bring me the poster.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I come to work one day off the road, and she had passed, and we were obviously getting prepared. I knew she had passed. But my assistant go, Penny, a lady brought this by here for you. And the poster was in the frame. And when I opened it, it was the poster, the Nike poster. Ain't that unbelievable?
And you have it in your house?
I have it. It's not in my house, so don't come rob me, you guys.
I'm just saying,
but,
can I get the key to your house so I can take it off your wall?
Is that something?
Wow.
I know. Yeah, she left me the poster.
How do you not, the players not have the original posters?
Because they were selling them in the store, and we were just happy to get all the free gear. Now here we're not paying for anything. I remember, this is true story. When I first came home, they were like, Penny, come up to the Nike store. And when we went in there, okay, what's the first thing? They drop you in the store. They say, okay, you can go pick some stuff out. What is the first thing you would say? And they drop you in the store and they say, you can go shopping.
Well, how much can I get?
Exactly.
Yeah. How many sneakers can I run out the front door with?
And guess what their answer was? Get whatever you want.
Oh.
Get whatever you want. They'll tell you that. Remember Nike that used to be up on, what is that, Wilshire in Rodale? Yeah. We could walk in there and get whatever we wanted too. When they say get whatever you want, and I'm thinking like, I had a basket, this basket full, they go, no, just go get whatever you want. And we went around the store and we picked so much stuff. They were mailing it home for you. I didn't even play golf and had some Nike golf clubs. I figured one day I'll take it up, so let me get these golf clubs. You know, I mean, we were in there like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Literally, we all looked at each other. And I think somebody said, whatever. They go, yeah, just get whatever you want, and whatever you can't carry home, we'll mail it home. Literally, we went and picked out, I think we picked one of everything. I mean, that's how crazy it was. So imagine you go from paying for Nike to a Nike athlete to get whatever you want. And I think we were always the hype around the team. You didn't have time to think about a poster. I didn't even know they made a poster until my brother called me about the poster. But I think we were just stuck in the Wizard of Oz or the Basketball Oz land because here is a dream that if you could dream any dream as a female basketball player that you would have a WNBA, here we are living it. So being in that moment, I think the only thing we were stuck in, like, do you believe this? It's like, man, do you believe this? You know, that's the world that we were living in, like, unbelievable. A dream come true, living it in real time.
I'm just like, I have chills. Although I have to say, like, if someone planted me right now in a Nike store and they're like, you can get anything you want, it would be the greatest day of my life.
I know, that's what we were saying. So imagine having this big old cart.
At any age, I could be like 70, I'd be like, put me in that store and tell me. But like, you know.
And I'm not exaggerating.
I love
and I'm
it.
going to tell you, when they dropped us in the store, so you know we filled up the first cart.
Yeah.
I think I might have 5. I think all of us had like 5 or 6 carts.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
they would say, oh, just leave it right here. And we would just keep shopping.
Oh my God, I love
And
it.
then they sent it all to your house.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like
I'm sure that
one of the best
bonded,
days of your
yeah,
life.
And I'm sure it just bonded you as a team too. And I mean, it's like you're playing overseas. You never think, oh my God, we're never going to play it in our home country. Then you go in, and you and Lisa Leslie, it's like, you know, they're building a team around you guys. The Nike, all of it, like, what an amazing experience. I mean, obviously all of you had it so much harder. But these are experiences that are so unique that no one else will ever experience. You know, that is something to hang your hat on. I mean, that is
And they
pretty
won't
amazing.
experience it. And
Yeah.
this is why when I see like some of the veteran athletes get upset when some of the younger players don't understand that this league everybody plays their part.
Yeah.
The part we played was to make sure this league is really, really good so that these young ladies nowadays will have a league to go to. They're never experienced giving up 8 or 10 years of their life just to go overseas to practice their profession, something that they practice for years. And this is why sometimes I think some of the veteran athletes get upset, because how do you not know the history? How do you not know the shoulders that you stand on?
Yeah.
Because if we didn't do a good job, you wouldn't have a job today. And that's basically
yeah.
what it boils down to.
Yeah. So let's jump back into that first game. And right before we hit record, you were telling us about the play. I just need you to repeat that, because that's just
it's
really
a really
funny.
funny story.
I mean, you know, the first game, I remember watching it. I was unfortunately not rooting for you. I'm rooting for you now, but I was a Liberty fan.
You know who else was a big Liberty fan? I used to see him every day when I used to work out at Gold's Gym. Gregory Hines.
No way.
Yeah, he would come to the Sparks game with a Teresa Weatherspoon shirt on.
Oh.
And I used to give him so much hell about that. When I would see him at Gold's Gym, I'm like, Greg, I swear to God, you better not come in the Sparks Gym again. And he was the nicest guy,
Yeah.
you know, and he would always rep New York.
I love
New
it.
York is going to rep New York. And so
yeah.
we would see a lot of those guys in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I mean, those games, those matches were epic. But yeah, I obviously remember that game because it was the first one. But, you know, I just want you to repeat that story. I just want to, you know, take us through like the tip off, and then.
I'm going to tell you something about that tip-off. I got the best picture ever, too. It was so much history in that tip-off, and then I'm going to tell you the story that you
Kim
want.
Hampton, right? Hampton, Leslie?
Kim Hampton did the real tip, but they had a tip before. I think it was Lobo and Leslie who did the fake tip, I think. That was the real
okay.
tip.
Like the
and I think
ceremonial
Kim
tip.
did
Okay.
the real one,
I think
but
Kim
the
did the real
ceremonial
one. I
was
gotcha.
Lobo. But what people don't understand is if there's anybody out there, I'm going to give you something to go look for, because it's going to be priceless. If you have a shot of that tip with Lobo, take a look down and you'll see Violet Palmer was in that shot. She's the first NBA official. She refereed that game. She became the first woman official in the NBA.
Wow.
And I know that because obviously I got a picture of that. And I remember
Yeah.
one day I was looking, I go, oh my God, there's Violet, who became the first NBA female official, along with Dee Cantner.
Cool.
But anyway, that day, I remember, we were so nervous. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something, it was amazing too, and I actually have this. I remember the day before we were in practice, everybody was so nervous. I don't even know if I slept that night. And Johnny goes, Penny, I got a surprise for you guys. And when I say Johnny, or I call him JB, that's Johnny Buss, Dr. Buss's son, who ran the Sparks. He said, I got a prize for you young ladies when you come to the game tomorrow. So we're thinking, like, we're coming to the game and we're getting a surprise, right? Okay, you know what the forum looks like.
Oh, yeah.
And you know the big columns. They're probably like, what, 200-300 feet
Yeah.
tall? Imagine when I'm driving to the forum and I come around the corner and I see the column draped with the starting five. Lisa, Penny, Jamila, I believe it was Haisha, and I think Tamika Dixon, I can't remember. But the columns were, it was a drape, and it was 200 It's like 200 feet long.
Wow.
And we look bigger than life. And there were our pictures on those columns. It was the most incredible vision ever. So you're already nervous, and now you're 10 times nervous.
Oh my,
right?
wow.
You're 10 times nervous. So when you came out, and then there was so many people. It was so many people for that game. And to be honest with you, a lot of stuff is a blur because you're just so nervous. And I remember you going on the court, and I remember when the game was going to start, and we started the game. And when the game started, there was a player called Deja Charles, named Deja Charles. She played at Tennessee, great player. Won some championships. Deja Charles was allocated to the Sparks with Haisha Zhang in the second round, in the second allocation. And I remember we went down, and let's just say you call a play 5, and 5 may call for you to pass the ball 4 times. The ball went to Deja, and she just shot it. And we all looking like, because we didn't, you know, I think Deja Charles was the only person on the Sparks that thought, I'm gonna make the first basket in the history of the WNBA, and that's probably why she bricked it. Okay, I mean, we threw her the ball and she just shot it. Not only were we not ready for her to shoot it, the other team wasn't looking for her to shoot it either. Because I don't even know if she was turned all the way around or not. So it comes down, so we just think it's nerve, and we went like 4 or 5 times, and then obviously lucky enough, and I look back now, that I was gracious enough to score the first basket in the history of the WNBA. But I remember the next day in practice, because I didn't even realize it, because as an athlete, you're like, man, we lost the first game at home, right?
Yeah.
So as an athlete, you're thinking that. But the next day in practice, when I saw Deja, I go, Deja, now it makes sense you shooting that ball twice and me not knowing you're going to shoot the ball. She said, girl, I'm trying to make history. So I already had in my mind, as soon as you threw it to me, I was going to shoot it. So we all laughed and laughed and laughed. And it was funny. I mean, she literally just took the ball and shot it. All of us looked at each other like, what is she doing? And then you know, you saw later, because she wanted to score the first basket in the history of the WNBA.
Classic.
Yeah.
Well, I watched that play again, and it was you had a sweet shot. That was a sweet shot.
I mean, they couldn't get down with that.
Just down between the
that
legs, corner.
And that,
it was a beauty.
Back it
was a
up,
beauty.
back it up. Yeah.
I love it. Did you have, when you were playing, like, did you have certain rituals or routines? Like, I love athletes that are crazy superstitious. Did you have stuff that you had to do?
No, I didn't really have a routine. The only thing, well, I guess you're gonna laugh if I did have sort of like, I wouldn't call it a routine, but it's what I like to do.
Please tell me.
Before the game. Okay, don't hold this against me. I used to love to watch Judge Judy and Jerry Springer.
Oh my God, I love
You know, and then from there, once I got to the arena, let me go ahead and put some Tupac on and get ready for war. You know, I used to love to watch Jerry Judy. I was like, oh my God, this lady's so funny. And Jerry Springer, it was just like, I used to be like, are these people crazy to go on this show? You know, I mean, I used to love to watch that before every game. That was my ritual. I'm going to watch Judge Judy, Jerry Springer, and then when I get to the gym, I'm going to play Tupac. And now it's time to go to war.
Oh my God, I love it. I wouldn't have been able to guess that in a million years.
I know.
But I love it. You just like, you know, you have to shut it off and then just watch a barrel of, well, just a trashy family fighting it out for the $10.
I couldn't believe the people that would go in there. It was like hilarious. And it kept me loose because I'd be like, look at these crazy people, you know? And those were the best time at the Forum. And, you know, another time that I can remember that I always felt like, and I never knew which fan did this, because, you know, at the Forum, it's not like Staples, how you drive down in the tunnel so nobody gets to see your car or they don't get to see you unless they run into you in the store or something. At the Forum, those were the good old days because the crowd was literally right behind you. You know, you could touch you. You had the Forum Club that was famous, but the cars were literally parked outside. And somebody wind up, they figured out, they had read my bio and figured out who my favorite singer was. Do you know who my favorite singer is, Erin?
I don't.
You want to take a shot at it? I give you 2 guesses.
Aretha Franklin.
No.
Give me a genre.
Might be the best singer in the world, but people are going to kill me when I say who I think it is. They're going to kill me because they used to kill me in the salon too, the hair salon.
Female or male?
It's a female.
Best singer in the world? Barbra Streisand?
There you go.
Hey,
oh my God!
Come on! one.
Oh, she got it right. And I'm gonna tell you something, being in an Afro-American salon or black salon, oh, they killed me when they're, oh my God.
That's why I said Aretha first. I wasn't gonna lead with Barbara Streisand. I was like, well, that's pretty white.
Too bad they can't see your face. And I love Barbara Streisand, right?
the best.
And I tell everybody, I say, look, Barbara can sing your stuff, but you will not be able to sing Barbara's stuff.
Absolutely.
Barbara to me is the best thing in the world. So somebody must have read my bio. And this is what was so amazing about the beginning of the WNBA. I went outside one time, right? And you know what was taped to the back of my car? The whole collection of Barbara Streisand in a beautiful case, taped over the car, saying, we heard you love Barbara Streisand and we wanted you to have this collection. I have it to this day. So if this person is listening to this podcast, thank you. It's one of my most prized possessions. When I move, I take it to all my residents. The whole collection in this beautiful pink box. Incredible. Now that never could have happened at Staples, but at the Forum, it shows you how special the place was. It was literally, I went to my car, I'm like, what is this taped on my car? My brand new car, my brand new Z3 because I love James Bond, right? And then when I saw it was Barbara Streisand, I didn't care if it scratched the paint or not. This collection was awesome, the whole collection, her whole
WNBA fans.
I can't believe you got that right, though. I can't believe you got that right.
No, if you asked me who's like the best voice I've ever heard in my life, it's Barbara Streisand.
Exactly. And
I mean,
I can't believe you got that right.
Yeah. Well, I'm also obsessed with the Guilty album because I love the combo of Barry Gibb and Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
That was like when I, loved gin and tonic still to this day, and would do karaoke. I would have about 5 of them, and I'm like, who's singing Guilty with me? And not a lot of people took me up on that, but
yeah, I love Barbara Streisand. And then later, they hit on that topic. This is why I love working with Lee Zeidman and Christy Costello. Christy Costello right now works for SoFi, and they knew I love Barbara Streisand. And when she was at the Forum, Christy Costello called me, Penny, how come we haven't gotten the call yet? And I go, what do you mean? She's like, your girl is here. And I'm like, my girl who? Because we had been on the road for 2 weeks. And when she told me Barbara Streisand, they saved me Barbara Streisand's tickets to Friends and Family Night, where you would literally could touch her.
Oh my God.
And they called me, they go, are you back in town? I said, I just landed. And I went straight to the concert when she was at SoFi.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Staples, when crypto was called Staples. Can you believe that? I mean,
that's
look
a
at
dream.
the thing.
I've never gone. I've never gone because the tickets are like $7,000.
Well, she opened up the MGM when I lived in Vegas, because when I first came to GM, I used to live in Vegas and fly back and forth. When she opened up MGM, they paid her $20 million and do New Year's Eve. That's when she opened up the MGM Grand. The tickets started in the cheap seat at $1,000. So imagine, like this WNBA, not only was it the greatest league to play in and you wish for, but it brought a lot of athletes a lot of joy, and we got to experience a lot of things that we wouldn't have got to experience if the WNBA never was in existence.
Well, you should. I mean, you created the WNBA. All right, you have such a very, very particularly unbelievable career, because not only did you form the WNBA, you were the GM of the Sparks for 20 years. I wrote this down. You're the winningest and longest tenured GM in WNBA history, winning 3 championships and making the playoffs a record 18 times. I mean, that's never going to be done again. I mean, no GM is going to last 20 years, first of all. But I'm just kind of blown away of the success you had on the court. And then all of a sudden you're a GM and a successful one. Like, what was the learning curve there? Like, and I want to know everything about how you jumped into that and made it work.
Now I'm gonna get corny on you first.
Bring it on.
Because
for
this
best
is
friends.
for anybody out there. I'm gonna tell you the power of words, and this is a true story too. I remember when I got the call to come to the WNBA. I was right there between being young and old, right? And I was like, wow, this would be great. And I remember I was telling my godmother about me coming to the Sparks. And I was like, could you imagine if I could be the GM of the same team when I'm finished playing that I'm playing for. I literally said that. And I'm saying corny because to show you the power of words, it came true. So when the Sparks, we were struggling. I felt we always had a good team. College coaches are going to hate me right now, but this is talking about in that time period in 97. I'm not talking about now, okay? So let me put that out there first, because you know people take the words out of context around this world here, okay? So anyway, when the league first started, you had a lot of college coaches coaching the WNBA, which was tough. Because they were also coming into something they never experienced before. And you know what that was, right? Now you're coaching players that are not 18 and 21. We could be 30, 35. And that was tough for a college coach back then because they were used to having so much control. Where, you know, veteran players, we don't play it overseas, the best against the best. And you may say play a defense this way, and we like, why? When we know that it should be played now a different way. And you notice that all those coaches were getting fired. And they were bringing in coaches that had pro experience, or they were, you know, bringing in some men coaches to coach women's teams. But, you know, I felt like I could best help the Sparks on the other side. I thought we were a really good team. I thought we struggled because we were making bad decisions. And I went to Johnny Buss and said, I want to be traded. And he didn't want to trade me because I felt like, you know, as a player, you know, like every player, I wasn't getting a fair shift here because now we're playing for coaches that, yeah, they got a hard time coaching veteran players because I'm going to be honest with you, and everybody knows I felt like this. You got a bunch of racehorses and you're putting us in the stables. And then I'm looking at teams like Houston, they're beating us because they had Van Chancellor who figured out the formula, let the pros play. And that's why Houston won a lot of games, you know, and won a lot of championships because he allowed them to play and to play freely, sort of like Gino does in Connecticut. And that's why he has probably the most championships of anybody. He take their talent and make them bigger and not make them smaller. And I remember, so I said, well, okay, well, if you're not going to trade me, then let me be the GM of the team, right? This is a great story. So he says, well, you know, because we were friends, he goes, you know, Penny, we'll probably bring you an organization later when you're done, but I want you to play again. I want you to experience a good time. I'm like, no, you need me to be the GM. I'm like, I don't want to play here no more. You know, I want to be the GM. And so I think he said, okay, I'll make you player personnel. I said, no, I need to be that title because I need it, like, not to be looked upon as I'm just anybody, right? And he said, okay. So I'm sure I was the lowest paid GM in the world. And this is another lesson for people out there to learn. To be a marquee player at the time, you were paid $50,000. That was what the marquee players were getting. And my Nike deal was worth more than that. It's $100,000, right? And to be the GM in this league, and I tell this story to a lot of employees who came into the Sparks afterwards. And Johnny go, okay, Penny, you could be the GM, but you don't have any experience. But I think he was trying to deter me from wanting to be the GM and go back and play. He said, okay, well, you don't have no experience, so I pay you $50,000. Right? Now, here I'm giving up all this, right? This is a great story, though. So, the Busters are gambling people. They gamble when they bet. I mean, look at all the gambles Dr. Bus took in. They won with Kobe, trading people. So I said, okay, Johnny, $50,000. I go to run this. I'm like, he's like, well, you can play. I said, okay, because I always wanted to be a GM. And I thought, like, if I didn't take it now, even though I could still play, because my family was like, you can still play, why would you quit? I said, because I felt I could help the team better as a GM. Because I thought, I had an idea on what changes we needed to make to win a championship. And he said, okay, well, I'll pay you $50,000. And I said, okay. And I was so happy to be the GM that I didn't realize where's the contract, because I didn't have a contract either. You know, I didn't realize this till years later, okay? Like, I didn't have a contract, right? Let's start there. So our bet was, if I win, I write my own contract. That was the bet.
Wow.
And for everybody out there listening, I would say this. at least how I always felt. I don't get no better odds than that than betting on myself. Right? That was our bet, that if I win a championship, I can write my own contract. I didn't have one, let's start there, but I was fortunate enough, not bragging, I'm the fastest male or female to go from the court to the boardroom and win a championship.
It was like 2 years, right?
2 years I won. On the way to getting the trophy, Johnny was like, what a great job you done, Penny. Oh my God, it's great. I go, that's all fine and dandy, right? But you do know you about to pay the lady, right? And we were laughing, getting the trophy. That's what we were laughing about. He said, girl, you so crazy. I go, no, your pockets are about to be hit, you know? And that's how I wrote my contract ever since.
Wow.
My own contract. And then after I won the championship, he gave me a contract, and I was so happy. And I thought about it, oh, this is so great. But then I realized he gave me a contract because he didn't want me to leave. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's when I became the GM. And obviously, when I became the GM, I did know, I had an idea of how we should win and how we should do things. But I tell you this, to reach the level of the height that I've experienced, you don't get there alone. And when I say about that, not only did Johnny believe in me when nobody did, because the newspaper crucified him for making a player GM. You can go look that up too. They crucified him for that. The league didn't even want me to be the GM. They'll never admit to that, but I knew that. And this is where Dr. Buss and everybody came in. And they were like, Penny, before you go to work, your first meeting is with the greatest GM of all, Jerry West. I became very successful because Johnny Buss and his dad were invested in me being very successful. You know, so where other people probably would have to Google or look up in the encyclopedia, I could walk right across the hall and the best of the best was doing it. You know, when we won our second championship, and this is some free advice for you coaches and GMs out there, we, to this day, a lot of people don't know this, the Los Angeles Sparks, owned by the Los Angeles Lakers, is the first WNBA male and female team to win a championship and hold it at the same time.
Not only 2001?
2000, I believe, I forget now.
2 or 1 or 2 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But not only did we do it once, we did it twice, because they went back to back. Then we won a three-peat. They won their three-peat, and the Sparks lost their three-peat. But we're the only team in the WNBA where the female and the male team both hold the title at the same time.
So awesome.
Now, I tell you that to tell you this. So me and Mitch, then Jerry had left, and Mitch was there. Mitch was a huge Sparks fan. Mitch Kupchak, right, who also got several rings himself. And I remember, because when we had the title, and we were all in the same building, we used to walk around and call each other champ, right? Hey, champ. Hey, champ. How you doing, champ? Champ, champ, champ. Right? And so I remember he said to me, and this is what I mean when I say there's 2 ways to learn, the hard way, or you could take advice and understand that you don't know everything. And I remember we were in the cafeteria where the Kings were practicing one day, because the Kings used to practice there. And Mitch said to me, okay, Penny, you won your first championship. How you gonna win your second? I said, Mitch, have you seen this team? Have you seen this team? I got everybody back, and I'm gonna load this bench up with some starters, and we're about to bust out again, right? And he said to me, he said, no, Penny, I asked you how you gonna win your next championship. I go, Mitch, I just told you. I got the whole team back, and I'm about to load the bench up, and we're gonna be really good. He gave me the best advice ever, and I truly believe this is what helped me be a better GM and look at it being different. He said, no, Penny, this is how you're gonna win your second title. You know everything you got away with, and to win your second title, you have to deal with that. You will not win until you dealt with that. He was right. I did know everything we got away with. I went and dealt with that, and we won our second championship. I got some incredible stories.
I mean, I'm happy for you now. I'm just going to admit it. I was not cheering for the Sparks during those seasons, or the Lakers.
Nobody was.
But I did thoroughly appreciate those teams. Those teams were so fun to watch. I just was such a diehard New Yorker at the time. I'm like, we're not Candace.
I actually like New York when it wasn't the Sparks. I like them now.
Well, now the thing is, I actually very quickly loved the Sparks. It was my anger towards it went right to the Houston Comets. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I just was like
after the shot, I thought you guys had a chance. You know, the Teresa Weatherspoon
the half
shot.
Court. That's when Sabrina put that shot in, and I think it was Ryan Rucco goes, the greatest shot in Liberty history, and I was like, whoa, that's up for debate.
And you notice the Sparks. Well, that was the second championship when we played New York and LA. And the game was neck and neck, and then Spoon dropped off Nikki Teasley, and Nikki Teasley hit that three, and the Sparks won our second championship.
Yeah, I remember that, Penny.
Yeah, we won our second championship.
Nikki Teasley, she was Tennessee, wasn't she?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Oh,
yeah,
God.
She was North Carolina, and she hit that
so
shot.
So good. Oh, it was so annoying. I was like, we're never gonna win.
I know. You guys finally got the monkey off your back last year.
Okay, so full circle moment for you. We're sitting here at the Ice House in Pasadena.
Yeah.
And you are the GM.
I know. It is something.
Continual GM with Johnny owning the club.
Yes.
That's pretty wild.
Isn't it crazy? So that's the whole crazy thing about it is I had got some investors and we were trying to buy a WNBA team. And I won't say what team because I'm signed to an NDA still, but we were trying to buy a team and we thought we had the team. So Johnny was like, oh, Penny, come over here. I want to show you the Ice House and the comedy. I'm like, Johnny, I don't want to see the comedy club. I said, I'm trying to get this team. So he was like, when I came over, he said, come over here and see if you can help me oversee the renovation. And I said, okay, well, if I don't get the team, I'll come here and work with you. And he was like, oh, I can't pay well. I said, Johnny, it's not about the money. I mean, Johnny gave me an opportunity to experience everything that I experienced. And so when we didn't get the team, and he was so happy because he's like, isn't this great? You have to see how Johnny talks. Isn't this great, Penny? We're back together again. And he's talking about, he may want to buy another WNBA team. He told me the other day, he go, Penny, I think I may want to buy another WNBA team. I go, Johnny, are you kidding me? So he might, you never know.
Yeah.
He might come back. He's like, I'm really thinking about it. I think I want to do it, Penny. He said, would you
I was like,
would you come work?
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm not going to work for you this time. Take 50 grand, bro. Now, I'll be a partner. I'm a little smarter this time around. I'll be a partner if you want to do that. But Johnny loves comedy. Him and his father had experienced everything that they could experience, but they always wanted to own a comedy club.
Wow.
The Ice House was being sold to somebody else, and Johnny came in and said, I'll give you $1 million more. And the guy took it and gave it to Johnny. He may kill me for saying that story, but he took it and gave it to Johnny. And Johnny oversaw it, and then he came, and when he called me, he said, okay, Penny, you didn't get the team. Come help me run the club, or at least oversee the renovation of it. And I said, okay. So then he was like, aren't you having fun? Because I can literally tell you, I might have knew maybe 5 comics. Now I know like maybe 500,000. Yeah, And once I saw what it was, because once again, here's our deal. I get to do whatever. As long as I execute his stuff. And he's like, no, go do whatever, have fun with it. Because this is the one thing him and his father didn't get a chance to do, is do the comedy club. So that's why he bought it. He loves it. He comes to a lot of shows. And then he loves it so much. Like now, he was in here the other night, and we were talking. He was like, Penny, can you believe we're doing this too now? And it's really unbelievable. And I never thought I was telling you earlier, I never thought I'd get another job that didn't seem like a job. I mean, I got to see sports game all day, and then I get to see great comedians such as yourself all day. And I've been having such a fun time, and he's always looking at me, he goes, you actually having fun here. I go, these people are amazing, Johnny. I mean, look how talented, like all the comedians are either writers, or such as yourself. You got so many things, great things going on. And I've always been fascinated with television, so I get a chance to sit down and talk to some of the great producers of some of the shows you see on television. I didn't even know Gina Yazarelli had a television show.
The best.
Until I met her. And I'm like, she's like, Penny, you haven't seen my show? I'm like, no. And just looking at all the hard work that all the comedians that you guys put into your work, it's sort of similar to basketball, and you guys are doing it individually, and it's been great getting to meet so many comedians. I mean, I'm looking at the best of the best once again come through the Ice House. They enjoy it. They love it. I think the highest compliment I received here so far was I was at a Laker game, and my friend, when I came back from the restroom, and my friend said, "Penny, this guy wants to take a picture with you, right?" Because he knew me as the GM of the Ice House.
Wow.
And then when he saw my jersey hanging, he couldn't believe it in the Staples Center. And he was like, "Do you think she would take?" But it's interesting now how I get known for, "Oh, she's the GM of the Ice House," which means we're doing a lot of things right here. And I really have to thank Johnny because he gave me a credible opportunity with the WNBA, and it was wonderful. But I can tell everybody right today, I enjoy coming here. I enjoy working with the comics. I enjoy what I know the vision of the Ice House and where we're going with it. It's going to be spectacular. And this is going to be another great ride. And I'm confident, I hope this doesn't come off as cocky, I'm confident that Johnny and I will knock this out the park too.
Well, you already are. This place is, so fun. I've been in 8,000 comedy clubs. I think that's correct. It should be fact checked, but I believe it's 8,000. And this place is so nice. It's so well, it's aesthetically like beautiful. Comedy clubs usually are like, like the old MSG where you step down, in the garden and your sneaker gets stuck on the disgustingness of, a building. But this place is so nice, and I had the best weekend here with Fortune. And but the most exciting thing for me coming here was I made a beeline for you. Everyone's like, "Oh, are you excited for the show?" And I go, "Yeah, the show, but I get to meet Penny Toler." Like that was like just such a highlight, and I was just like, I have to be cool around you, and then demand you come on the podcast. Thank you so much. I have to say this. I'm just speaking for every WNBA fan or women's basketball fan globally. Thank you so much what you've done for the game, on the court, off the court. I mean, just how you guys put the WNBA on your shoulders and like literally formed the league that we love today. And your time as GM. I'll go back and watch the games and cheer for the Sparks now that I know you personally. But thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Erin. And it's always nice to like revisit, so I appreciate it. And I always say when you ask me to do the podcast, it's a no-brainer because whether I'm in the league or out the league, I want the WNBA to stay here forever. And it's podcasts such as yours that will help it stay around. It'll help players who don't know people or the history of the game, or players, you will do, the grassroots work that you will know the WNBA inside and out. So that's why when you ask me, I wasn't being nice. I'm like, I loved it from the start because, look how many years it take us to get here. Yeah. And it's people such as yourself that will keep it here. And that's why I was like, just tell me when. And
I love it.
How we did it.
I love it. I love it. Everybody, if we were in front of a live studio audience, I'd be like, "Everybody, Penny Toler!"